I'm working on an overlay tool for gamer content creators. Learn more about the big picture here with my overview video. In today's video, I'm going to give you an introduction into the web portal. It can be found at confusedhero.co.uk. So this is the portal you use to design your layout. Let me start off by running you through the navigation. So firstly, this menu at the top. I've currently got home, which just takes you to this page here, which is really where all the designing happens. I've got an about page, which kind of gives some information about the various things you can do with this product. I have a new section, which I'm going to get rid of that tab. I think I'm going to use a different strategy for distributing my news. Available content, currently just got a placeholder, but I'm going to be putting any video that uses my software that's on YouTube. You're going to be able to see it here. So you'll be able to come here and browse all of the content creators that are currently using it. A bit of privacy information as well about how I handle data. And I do have a link there to how you can support me if that is something you're interested in. So it's on the home page where you design your layouts. In order for something to render, you need to select a game, which is effectively what data do you want to render, and you need to select a layout. That's how you want to render that data. So for the game, I'm going to select this one here, MC Game Episode 3. Currently, that's the only one I have working. And if you go over to my gaming channel, it's this video here. You also select a layout, and you can see this is all the layouts that I use for that video. If I go back here and see if I can find one of interest, this one will do. So we can see 10 minutes and 3 seconds into the video, we were rendering this. So if I say pick that layout, as I think it was stats score view, this layout here. Yep, and then 10 minutes and 3 seconds into the video. That's actually really difficult to navigate to an exact second, but that's what we were rendering. That should tally up those numbers precisely. I'm a few seconds out, but so this view was designed within the portal, and then it was overlaid on top of the content using Adobe Premiere Pro later on, so within the edit. I'm now going to explain the icons on the left. So first, you've got this badged here at the top here. That just represents your membership. My profile, just some information about who you are. I generate a random key for you. This is how you are known publicly. So if you're a content creator, you can share this with the public and they can find your content. Display name, that's just how I want people to see me. Now, I do have a individual logon token and a server token, which I can get onto the clipboard by clicking these buttons. This is private information. Do not publicly share these codes, because with this code, someone will be able to log on as you. There's also a button here to edit any of that information, and if you want to switch the user, you can do that here. Next up, we have a selected game. This is the current game that we have selected. So I'm looking at episode 3, and you can see there's quite a lot of information here. If you want people to join this game, there's a key for that. How I want this information distributed, well, I think I'll explain this in a later video, but effectively, if somebody's viewing your content in the browser, they get the big map by default, and you can actually see that here. As I'm viewing this content, I've got the big map by default. Next up, layouts. These are all the layouts that are imported into this project. So you can design a layout and use that layout within multiple different videos and borrow and share from other creators. Image requests, that's to do with the in-edit part. I'll do a separate video on that. And the last two are actually how you upload a game. I'll do a separate video on that. So quite a few videos to follow. Next tab is the selected games layout. So these are all the layouts that are being used by this game. My layouts are every layout that I've designed. As you can see, there is a limit. This limit is controlled by your membership, and I'm tweaking the numbers, so I'm not going to go into that here, but we can talk. I'll talk about that more in a later video. And then the selected layout is this layout here. You can see these are items that I can select, and we can modify the details of. If I pick this table down the bottom here, you can see all the scores, the location, the size, all of that is defined by you. And we can also add additional items. This is where you add various things to the pages, like text and buttons and images and various infographics, which I'll go through later. Also on the selected layouts tab, you'll find information about the resolution of the video. So as you can see, the resolution actually defines where you can then use that layout. So this resolution I've got set really high. It's 1920 to 1080, which means I'm allowed to use it in an edit, and we're allowed to use it in browser. But you can't, for example, overlay that in a stream. I've got a maximum width of 400 pixels. Might change that later. We'll see what people want. But also, in-game has a set width, and in YouTube has a set width of 390. That's just the width of this here. So you know, we have a set width at the moment. As you change these numbers, if I shrink that down to 192, you can see it's much thinner, but only this part would render in the browser, so you can't use that at the moment. But as I shrink it down, you'll see that this can actually be used everywhere. The default game is, when I'm looking at layouts, you can see there's icons here. The default game just determines which game's data gets used for generating the thumbnail. That's all it's used for at the moment. Cool. So the only other thing to go into is perhaps some detail about the actual items themselves. I'll do that now. Let's create a new layout for this. I will call it demo. We'll make it 400 by 700, which is let's say I was planning on using this in game, so maybe I'll make it 300 by 700, just so it fits within the game. And we can add an item. First, I'm going to add a label. And we'll make it say, hello world. Shrink that down if we want. I think if you put font size 0, it makes it the height of the box. Or you can specify height if you want. If you need to move it a little bit, you can do that by dragging and dropping, or you can actually just adjust the numbers yourself manually. It just kind of enables you to be a bit more precise. The ability to add a score is, if you wanted the label to say I'm holding 5 dirt, we can add a score of how much dirt am I holding. Let me do that now. Dirt, and then item in loads of different scores available. Item inventory dirt, and then the player would be me. The details would be dirt. That's the name of the item, and this is the name of the score. And then I think in square brackets you just write I dirt, I representing an integer whole value. And now it says 26 because at 10 minutes and 11 seconds into the video I was holding I had on me 26 pieces of dirt. That's how that works. You know, right at the beginning of the video I only had 11, so that's how that works there. Let's go back to the layout. I'm just going to quickly save that so we don't lose where I am. The score got reset to 0 then, I'm not sure why. Just if I go back to where we were. 43 at 13 minutes in. Cool. So let me add something else. Add new item. Add a button. Buttons are complicated. I'll show. I'll dedicate a video to them later. Rectangles. This is just if you want to add shapes to the page for decoration. I do that quite a lot. You'd be surprised how much you need that. Images, if you just want to load logos in, that can be done. A score table. Let me demonstrate how score table works. So, you know, we've already seen me add a score of dirt. Let me duplicate that and do that again. But you don't want to play a filter for this one because it shows all players on the server. Scale it down, render it at 50%, and that's showing how all of the players and how much dirt they had. And you can have, for the score table, you can have as many of these as you like. So I'll do oak log as well, like that. Cool. Next we have First Blood. So in episode 3 we came up with a game which was around being the first person to kill a mob, and that was a specific infographic that I designed for that purpose. We can also add graphs, score variants, and maps, and header tables as well. This is where very, very similar to this score table. I'll just demonstrate this one. So when you start it, it actually fills out a default for you, but you can add a few of these. We'll say dirt and dirt, and then you're saying how many of these you've got as well. So this detail here relates to the score. You're pulling the item inventory update, so how many items of dirt you have, and this is just the text that gets displayed here. You can put whatever you want here, but that has to be dirt because that's what that matches the name that it is in the game. So I think I'll leave this video there. I'll be back with another video on how to upload a game, and then I'll be going through each of the features of where you can use these layouts. Thanks for watching.